Today I'm gonna be talking about how artificial intelligence can revolutionize data science. And I'm gonna be testing ChatGPT with R. So artificial intelligence, AI, can already report results from other studies. We can type, report me the result for this or that topic, and then AI can do some sort of literature review on these studies. What's going to be really interesting in the future will be to see if AI can help us run our own empirical study, if it can help us generate our own results. So expert knowledge will always be needed to double check what AI did, but it could potentially save months, if not years of work spent cleaning and analyzing data. So ideally, in the future, we would be able to ask AI things like, I want to study the gender pay gap in hourly wage rate. Please download the panel Study of Income Dynamics, the PSID. Select all employed adults from 30 to 45 years old for the years 2018. Do a preliminary analysis of the best causal determinants of hourly wage rate. Show me these causal factors. Are these factors consistent between different causal methods? Draw me a model of these causal factors, for instance, in the form of a direct acyclical graph, a DAG. After this, select these factors and look for unusual values and decide if we should remove them or impute them. And finally, run a decomposition analysis and report the results for the gender pay gap. So doing all of this as an empirical researcher takes a long time. If AI would be able to do this, to produce these results, that would save researcher a lot of time. So in this video, I'm going to be testing a little bit what ChatGPT can do in basic data preparation and data analysis. So I'm going to be testing ChatGPT with R on the Swiss dataset, which is a dataset of Swiss cities in the late 1800s, I think. And he has different variables about fertility, agriculture, examination, education, and so on. So let's start. I started by writing with R, load the Swiss dataset. And ChatGPT here give me the description of the command. If you want to load the Swiss dataset in R, use the command Swiss and so on. So he showed me the code, that's fine. He's also explaining me, which is quite nice. If you want to learn more about the Swiss dataset, you can type this command here, $Swiss, and hit enter. Then I'm asking him, using the Swiss dataset in R, remove all rows with agriculture less than 50 and then regress fertility on agriculture. He's not only giving me the code, he's also explaining me the different functions. So here, for instance, he used the function subset, okay? And then he created another dataset, so it's 2, okay? And then he ran me the regression here with LM, okay, this is correct, that's fine. And then he's telling me to see the summary, use summary on the fit model we just created. And then he's giving me more information about, the residual and plotting the residual. Okay, so now I'm asking him to interpret for me the effect of agriculture on fertility. Let's see what he says. So, to interpret the effect of agriculture on fertility, you can examine the coefficient estimate for agriculture in the regression model. In the LM function, the left-hand side of this, tilde operator, represents the response variable, and the right-hand side represents the predictor variables. The coefficient estimate for agriculture represents the change in the response variable associated with 1 unit of change in the predictor variable, holding all other variables in the model constant. Then it's giving me an interpretation. For instance, if the coefficient estimate for agriculture is 0.5, it means that for every 1 unit increase, the corresponding increase, okay, but it's not giving me the the estimate that we have. Okay, so it's not interpreting directly our result. And then it's telling me about the p-value. A p-value less than 0.05 typically indicate that effect is statistically significant, which means it's unlikely to occur by chance. It's important to give us some sort of a warning note. It's important to know that the coefficient estimate and p-value should be interpreted in the context of the research question and the specific data being analyzed. Okay, fine. So he did not interpret me the result. I'm going to try another technique, cluster analysis, and I ask him, using the Swiss dataset, run a cluster analysis and pick the best clustering solution. So that's generally, an operation where artificial intelligence could be really useful to something like pick best clustering solution based on some criteria that the computer thinks is best. To perform a clustering analysis on R, you can use the k-mean functions. Okay, so here he decided to pick one type of clustering solutions. Okay, he doesn't explain us why he picked this one. Just telling us we can use that function. Okay, and then you can use the WSS, the within cluster sum of squares criterion to pick the best cluster. So just generate a code. This code is quite familiar to me. I think I've seen that code like on Stack Overflow. So it doesn't seem that it's coming up with this code itself. It seems to be copying from the internet, and then it's plotting this, and it's just okay. You can plot the sum of square, the within sum of square. To pick the best clustering solution, you can look for the elbow. It's telling us what to do, which is helpful. Okay, but if we have already access to Stack Overflow and we can see that code, then it's not so helpful because people have already explained that. What I want is ChatGPT to do the analysis for me and to pick the best solution. So then it's telling us, okay, this will create k-mean object called fit that contain the cluster assignments. And then, okay, it's giving us the assignment. That's pretty good. You can use the fit object to examine the result of the cluster analysis, and it's putting this in another vector. You can use the center component of the fit object to access the cluster centroids. Okay, that's nice. Okay, hope this helps. Let me know if you have any question. Okay, it's just telling us how to do it, which is quite good, but it's not the same as really doing it itself. So then I'm trying again. Using the Swiss dataset, remove all outliers, perform a clustering analysis using the variable Catholic examination and education. Here I put a typo here. So let's see if he will automatically correct it. Then regress fertility on this cluster variable. Here again, my sentence is not very clear. Let's see if he will understand what I'm trying to say. Print and interpret the result for me. And he's telling me some comment. To remove outliers from the Swiss dataset in R, you can use the subset function and specify a condition. Okay, all those things. It's telling me, okay, one common method is to use the interquartile range, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so here is giving me a nice piece of code. And here again, did he come up with that code or did he just found it online? Okay, I'm not sure. This code looks fine. This will create a new dataset called Swiss 2 that contains the rows, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and then it's going to do the cluster analysis. Okay, so he's taking exactly... okay, so he did correct it. You see, there's my typo here, and then he corrected here with the right variable. Okay, I think that's quite impressive. That's nice. Okay, so he's not just blinding copy pasting, and then he's still applying these, k-means as we did it, but he's not comparing different solutions. He's not like reflecting on that. I think that will be the big thing to know if AI can do that. And can do that, well, I think it can. It's not that difficult to put, centers from, 1 to, 30 and compare all the solutions and then try different algorithm, try the k-means and then try other algorithm and then sort of like compare like what AI think is the best. And then I can compare that result to my own clustering and what I think with my theoretical knowledge, what is best. That would be very interesting and very helpful actually to compare the two. Here again, we need expert knowledge, but having almost an AI reviewers will be very interesting. And then, okay, that's also a nice comment here. He has understood that he has to take the cluster and then he's regressing, okay, fertility. I think that's a very neat line of code. And he understood well what I was trying to do, and then he's just summarize V2, but again, he's not interpreting what I'm trying to do. So what are my conclusions on this little exercise? I think the code is pretty good. It's a bit, the old style R is not the new sort of tidyverse style code, or is not the data.table, but it's fine. It seems to be correct. Obviously, everything we have done today can be learned easily in a simple intro to R course. It's just, it could save some time, Googling, instead of Googling, asking, Stack Overflow question. Here we can directly ask and you will find the answer for us. That's nice, but the answer don't really improve on, what's typically on Stack Overflow. The ChatGPT did not really interpret for me results, which I think can be both good and bad. It would be nice to see if he can have some interpretation for me to compare it, as a second opinion. I think that's going to be really the future of AI here. Regarding cluster analysis, I was looking for something a bit more AI, that the AI would choose different methods and test different methods and so on, and then give me sort of an overall review of what the AI think is the best solution, things like that. But I think that will come in the future, because this is totally feasible. Overall, it's very promising. It's at a very early stage here, so it's going to be really depend on if the AI can really generate sort of unique code, or if it's just copy pasting online answers. I'm not sure. So I'll be testing in further video a bit more complex code, and also testing regular expression and things like that. So stay tuned for the next episode.